A new technology to fish for lobsters virtually ropeless to prevent whale entanglements has got conservationists excited. But the technology is getting a bitter reaction from lobster harvesters, who are worried that it will drive them out of business and change their way of life. Harvesters along the North American coast are less than impressed with the idea of adopting the new gear. Take a look at this report.
Ropeless lobster fishing is getting conservationists excited. They see it as a way to prevent increasingly common whale entanglements along America's northeastern coast. But lobstermen, like Matt Weber, are pushing back, worried the campaign will drive them out of business and upend their way of life.
Ropeless fishing is really scary for me, and my guess is for a lot of Maine lobstering. It's just a really scary idea.
The push for ropeless fishing has been fueled by injuries to endangered North Atlantic right whales. There are only 350 left in the world, with only 70 breeding females. Since the start of 2023, 4 right whales along the coast have been injured in the lines, and 9 have died since 2017, according to government data. Christy Haddock is a researcher at the Centre for Coastal Studies.
They are suffering from multiple human-related causes, and that includes ship strikes, entanglements in fishing rope or any type of line.
And if they blunder into the ropes, they very often get them wrapped around the body.
Here's Michael Moore, another researcher, this time at the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution.
You can get a persistent entanglement which can cut into the flesh and either make it get real skinny and or die.
It's fueled a prominent campaign by environmental groups to pressure the industry to adopt on-demand equipment that only suspends ropes in the water briefly before traps are pulled from the water. So how does ropeless fishing work? Traditional lobster fishing uses traps that sink to the ocean floor and are connected by a rope to a buoy floating at the surface. Ropeless gear, by contrast, only deploys a rope and buoy to the surface when its owner activates a release trigger by remote control. Robert Morris is an engineer at EdgeTech.
So it's not really ropeless fishing because there's still rope and everybody asks that. So let's call it on-demand fishing. So when you want your rope and your buoy, you command or demand your buoy to be released. So it's not ropeless, it's just a way to keep the persistent vertical line, buoy line, in the water column until you need it.
If we can take that rope out of the water, but yet keep the fishing community still active, then it's a win-win for everybody. The right whales can feed and not have to worry about that rope in the water, and yet the fishermen can go ahead and grab their gear when it is time they need to bring it up. Reverse!
But lobstermen here have been critical of the new technology. Here's Matt Weber again.
I worry about the expense of it. I don't think that as it currently is, or even in the near future, I can't afford it. I understand that they're trying it and they're testing it, and they probably are learning a lot. And is there a potential to make it work? Sure. It's all the more scary because none of us feel like it's going to help. It's not going to change anything.
Despite the pushback, ropeless fishing technology has picked up steam in recent years. Engineers at EdgeTech, one of the companies working on ropeless traps, say that technology is already fully developed with around 100 units produced monthly. And a handful of New England lobstermen are already piloting ropeless equipment under special permits. The US and Canadian governments are climbing on board as well. Canada's Fisheries Department hailed the tech as, quote, the only way you eliminate the vertical line entanglement risk. And in areas with high whale traffic, Ottawa only allows fishing with ropeless gear. Still, researcher Michael Moore says the concerns of the lobstermen must not be dismissed.
You can't not be hopeful, because if you despair, you might as well quit. And I'm not ready to quit on these guys yet, and there's an awful lot of people in the business that I'm involved in that think likewise. And my hopes are that we can actually broker a mutually sustainable solution to this problem.